Great. So, hello, my name is Kara. I am an account manager here at Callbridge, and with me is Sarah, our customer success manager, who will be presenting some of the content as well. We are recording this, as I mentioned, so that we can post it later on, so we can send the link to everybody as well to have on file. In terms of how this is all set up, we are in presentation mode, so you are muted. It doesn't mean you can't ask questions. We are going to be monitoring the chat as well as the hand raise. We'll take turns doing that, but getting to the chat is as easy as hovering on the right-hand side of the screen. With your mouse, you'll see a little pop-up. There will be some balloons or chat bubbles, I guess. And Sarah just chatted in there. Please do feel free to chat in your questions at any time. She will answer those in chat, or if it's super urgent, say, hey, unmute me, and she'll unmute you, and we can go from there. So we will start. This is the online meeting, but what I want to do right now is start sharing my screen so that you can see everything that we're doing as we're doing it. So one moment here. So what you should be seeing right now is your what's behind your user login. And this presentation will cover the administrative portal. So whether you have kind of dipped in there once or twice just to see a few things, or have never been in there, or you're an expert, it's going to go over everything and all of the features and functionality you have as an administrator. So first and foremost, how do you know you're an administrator? That is because when you log into your account, and you click on the menu bar, which is to the right-hand side of the screen, you will see a tab that says Admin Console. If you have that, you are an admin. Congratulations. If you don't have it, you haven't been promoted to admin, contact the person who set your account up. Maybe they can promote you. Or if you're the only person on the account, call us. We need to help you with that. So whatever the case may be, this is how you find the console. And once you click on it, you're going to be taken to that part of the dashboard that only admins can see. And we'll just kind of go through these tabs one by one and quickly describe things that you can do. Some of these things are pretty awesome too in terms of making Callbridge your own, the look and feel of Callbridge. So it's a good overview to have. First thing to tell you is that yes, you can have multiple admins. So as I was saying, maybe somebody needs to promote you as an administrator. That does not mean they give up their admin rights. That just means you could also be an admin. You could have 10 admins, but we do ask that you use your powers wisely because that gives people certain privileges over the account you may not want them to have. So just make sure that you're monitoring that closely. So the first tab it defaults to in the admin site is the general page. Not much you can do here. You could change your company name if you would like. That will save and the change will take place, but you cannot change your URL or the first part of that subdomain. That's because it is intricately tied in the background to things like your online meeting room and your login page. And it is very, very difficult for us to untie it. So we do not give you that ability to change that URL. If it's critical, please contact support so that they can walk through it with you and see what we can do. So the first thing people think of as being an admin is managing users. That's probably the biggest thing that comes to mind, and it's certainly important to do. So we're going to get to the hosts tab. Now I know there are two host tabs. It's confusing a little bit, but this one here on the third tab down, that's nested under the billing section. And that really is strictly a billing setting. So I might as well click on it now. It's going to tell you how many hosts you can create within your company platform. So, you know, you'll be able to do whatever, 53. That's quite a bit. But if you need to change it, it's going to ask you if you want to change that, and it will also it will give you the new amount of your subscription if you're increasing the number of hosts. And if you're decreasing the number of hosts, conversely, it will give you that information as well. Okay, so the main hosts tab is the one that's a little bit bigger font, just slightly bigger underneath the reports and invoices. And what that does is it will give you the ability to, first of all, manage all of your hosts. So you're going to see a whole list of everybody here. You'll be able to see things like their name, their email address, their access code, which is really nice because if you have their code and PIN and you need to give it to them, then you can certainly do that as well. I'm going to switch gears for a second. Give me a moment here. I want to get into a screen where I can more easily configure the reporting and show you how to actually add a host and delete a host without making some changes in our database that we don't want changed. So forgive me for that. Okay, so I think we're back. So we're going to go ahead and just add a host. I'm going to show you how to do that. You can type in the first and last name, whatever that name may be. It has to be a unique email address. So we're going to make one up. Then you'll decide if you want that person to be an administrator or if you do not. So click that box if you want them to have admin privileges, uncheck it if you don't, and of course, again, that can change at any point in time. Here's where you will select the primary dial-in number. Now, please understand that even if you are selecting a number for them, that doesn't mean no other numbers will work. It just means that that's the number they will see when they first log into their dashboard. It will be on their invitations. They can change this. This isn't anything permanent. It's just you getting the account set up for them. So you'll choose one. You can actually choose two if you wanted to. And then you'll put in the country code. We have the whole list for you. So, just type that in and select it. You'll choose the locale. I think sometimes this field might be a little bit confusing, but there's only two to choose from, which is nice. That means, would you like them to have the US set of prompts, so in an American accent, or do you want the British set of prompts? If you've got somebody in the UK, you can definitely send them up with the British set if you like. Otherwise, we usually choose the US set. And Sarah will also talk a little bit about locale and gradings when she goes over the customization, but for all intents and purposes in the host field, that's where you want to do it. And then the time zone. So, type in whatever time zone they're in and save that record, and you have created the host. So let's find that host. You can see here that we have that new host that's been created, their access code, their PIN number. We have made them an administrator. And just saving that record, what that did was trigger an action for them to get a welcome email so that they can do things like log into the sites, see their dial-in number, see their access code. And that is also something that you can resend if you would like to resend it. You can edit the host, so you can give them the ability, you can change their name, you can change the email address, and here's where you would change them from either an admin to a regular host and save that record. And now they are no longer an admin. So that's how you remove the privileges from them. Note that you can also delete hosts. However, you can only delete hosts that are hosts and not admins. So if you have an administrator that has left their job and you no longer want them to be on the account at all, you will have to demote them from admin to host before you can delete that account entirely. So if I wanted to delete this host, I certainly could. Everything would be erased. The access codes and pins would not work. Note that this is a very permanent change. It's difficult, if not impossible, for us to get that back. So please make sure that you want that record gone before you delete it. You can't, it might be worth saying that you cannot reset a password for a host here, but any host can reset their own password just by going to the login page, typing in their email address and clicking for a password. So, or you could resend their invite too, either way. Scrolling down, I'm going to talk a little bit about the company directory. It's a little bit, there's kind of a misunderstanding about what this is for. This is a set of entries that go into every user's address book that is shared amongst the entire company. So most traditionally, if you work for a corporation and you have 100 employees, you could upload this entire list, and then every conference user would have access to all of these employees automatically in their address book. You're not setting them up as users at all in this section. This is simply to populate the address books of your hosts. If you're a nonprofit, for example, and you've got a large donor list, that you may want to upload that as a set of contacts for everybody in your company to use. So it's really up to you. There's a example template that you download just by clicking on that. And it looks, it's very simple, by the way, name, email, that's all we need. But please note that we're not kidding about this template. If you try to put in, say, e-mail, it will disable the upload and you won't be able to go through with it. So please make sure to leave these column headers exactly as is, type in the names, and then you'll be able to upload them with no problem at all. So I think that it's the last thing, but it is the most robust thing that I'm going to discuss is the reports and the invoices that are associated with your account. So we have a full list of reports, invoices, transactions that we provide to you as the administrator. All the data contained in these are able to be sorted in Excel. It's able to be downloaded and exported. So it's very manageable data by you. It makes it easy for you to work with other programs because you'll have it in a very common file to use. So first and foremost is the invoices section. You'll see any invoices that you have been sent, and yes, these are the same invoices you get via email, but you'll be able to pull them up here if you wanted to look at those details. For example, you know, if you wanted to download another one, if somebody needs a copy, this is where you would do that, very straightforward. The next one is the one I find myself using the most, and that's the meeting summaries. It's exactly what it says. You can find a list of all of the meetings that have been held by all of your hosts at any time. Some of the data that you can find here is the access code that was used, the name of the call itself. So if you see something like a very specific title, that's something that has been named by the organizer. If you see something a little more generic like Sarah's conference call, that just means that it was a 24/7 on-demand call and it didn't really have a scheduled name associated with it. You'll see the host name, the host email, how many people attended the call, start and end times, the meeting duration, and the total minutes. Remember, the duration is how long it lasted, and the total minutes is telling you how many people times the number of minutes on the call. So how many minutes there were. If you see a call like this where it's a little confusing at first, where it says 60 minutes but 0 total, what that's showing you is that there was a call that was scheduled for 60 minutes, but it never happened. People didn't show up. They called the meeting off, but they didn't cancel it. That's why that's showing that information there. If there were any chargeable minutes associated with it. So as you know, on some plans, you have access to premium numbers, and those are not included in your subscription fees. So those will populate there as well, give you a dollar amount. And then finally, the CDRs, which stands for call detail records, is where you can do an even deeper dive into that meeting and find out who was on the call. In this case, it looks like it was just one participant, but it will pull up all the information about that call that you need for you to see. So that kind of leads into this tab, which is the call details section. And again, it's quite a populated area because it's really giving you information about every single connection in the call. So for example, it's telling you who showed up to what call, when, how long, how did they connect. If you see a name here, that means they connected via the internet. If you see a number, an actual phone number with no name, that means they called in by phone. So you'll get to see the call, the ANI, the automatic number recognition field of the number they called in from and the number they called to, so what dial-in number they used, as well as how long they're connected. So again, just a wealth of information in that field there. Your usage charges allows you to manage better the the usage that is happening. I had mentioned before that there are some numbers that are considered premium numbers and some that are included. Here it allows you to pull it up by that those different segments. So if you want to see how many people are using that UK toll-free number, which does cost you money, you can pull that up and get that information easily and then drill down into the actual meeting where it happened. The transaction history is another billing tab that will show you everything that ever happened on your account in terms of payments and bills and credits. You can pull it up there. Very important is our exported CSV section, because when you download a report that you've run, let's say you want to run all of your meeting summaries for the month of September. So you set that timeline, you export it to CSV from the tab. That does not go to your download folder quite yet. It goes here to the exported CSV summaries. So that's where you'll find that report, and you could choose to download it from there. So don't think it didn't work. It's just you need to take that extra step to get it to work there. And for the next few items, I'm going to pass it over to Sarah, who can tell you a little bit more about customizing your dashboard.
Thank you, Cara. Hi, everybody. So I am going to walk you through some of the customization options on your account. Now, Cara already explained, and you would have noticed that when you created your account, that you have your own subdomains. So everywhere, whenever you share your meeting link, people see your company name. Now, let me go to share my screen. All right, so if you go to the admin section of your account and go to the design, which is right at the bottom, you'll see you've got first couple of options are to add your own logo and your own company icon. You can just drag and drop those into the field there that's displayed, or you can hit select file and pick them from your computer. They can be, it's any standard image file that's accepted, JPEG, PNG, or a GIF. And at least 96 by 96 pixels. The icon should be square, but your logo can be rectangle, not like a tower size, but a landscape image. Let me go to show you an actual account so you can see the default. 1 second. So here we have already one with the company logo and the company icon. So if you scroll down a little bit further, you can actually choose a theme. You've got 5 different themes, and you can also pick a primary and an accent color. Now, that might seem just 3 options, but actually it's so many different combinations that you'll be able to find a design and a style that's going to fit the branding of your company. So it'll match with your website, your marketing materials, your postcards, whatever. So you can see you've got, well, I'll just demonstrate. Let's pick imagination, and let's change the primary color to, I like red, so let's go with red. And an accent color, well, green is always good with, so let's choose different green and hit save. And then if you refresh the page, you'll see it's immediately updated. So if I now go back to my admin, to my dashboard, you can see the colors are different. The design is like a curvy line. Even if you go to start an online meeting, I'll stop because it'll cause chaos. And you also see the different colors reflected there, and your icon and your logo. Everything is updated, and it's going to also be reflected in your meeting invitations, reminders, the login page of your account, all over the place. So let's go back to the admin console. And the other customization feature, which is really great, if you go to dial-in numbers. Now, on this page, you're going to see all your dial-in numbers available, and you can see any, I don't think we've got any custom, no, we've not got custom number on this account. If you would like your own dial-in number that's not shared with other people that have Callbridge accounts, and you'd like that number to have a greeting with your own, welcome to my fish and chip shop conference line, or welcome to my design company conference line, you can do that by hitting request dial-in number. The first option you'll see is that you can pick a country. So that means you could potentially have, maybe you have a lot of customers that you deal with in Europe and you need a number for France, and you want to have it, you can even potentially have that recorded in another language. And then maybe you have a lot of people maybe you're in Canada and you have a bunch of people in the United States. So you can pick the United States. So let's start with that. And then here you can type in the greeting that you would like to be recorded. It can be anything. We suggest it, and it's going to have please enter your access code or PIN at the end. So we'll tack that on. And then just make sure you mention any pronunciation notes or any important things that you need mentioned about the way the greeting should be. And then we'll have a professional, someone record that professionally for you and upload it to your number. You could potentially, if you wanted to, if you've got your own recording, you could send that to us. Just make a note here and click send request, and we can get back to you and arrange how that would work. So once you've hit send request, there is an additional fee for the custom dial-in numbers. We'll let you know how much that is, and we'll give you a quote. It doesn't get immediately charged to your account, so you'll be informed of how much that would be, and we'll get it all set up as soon as you're ready. So that means that from the get-go, when they get with all these customization options, from the moment someone receives an invite to when they're reminded to if they choose to call in via phone, at every point where you're meeting, every touch point with a potential client or an important customer or a partner, they are seeing and hearing your branding, your image. So that's a really great feature. And I should mention that the design features, that's available only on the deluxe and enterprise plans. The custom dial-in number can be added on any of our plans, and yeah, everyone gets the custom domain. So I think that's it for me. I'll hand it over to Cara to finish things up in case I've missed anything as well. Thank you.
No, yeah, thanks, Sarah. That was very informative. Customization is a huge part of Callbridge. We want you to make it your own. So that's why we make it very easy for you to do. And if there are no other questions, then we will end this and let you go on with your day. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and we will get that recording ready and sent out as soon as we can. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your day and week.